Hello, I'd like to welcome everybody. This is truly a historic occasion here. We have Senator Koenig, Representative Schroer, Representative Hicks, Attorney General Eric Schmidt, Mayor Lyda Crusoe, Judge Jimmy Edwards, Governor Mike Parson, Chief John Hayden, and Senator Doug Libla. This is the group, this is the team we assembled to get residency done. Back in January, Governor Parson came to the hall and said, "What do we need for cops?" And we said, "Residency is one of the big things." He said, "Well, let's get it done." So took a little time, but we got it done. And with this group, we pushed it across the finish line pretty good. So I'd like to thank everyone. And also I'd like to thank Demetrius Alford. He's with the St. Louis Firefighters and the State Council of Firefighters. And with that, Chief Hayden.
Good afternoon. Since 1973, the residency rule has handcuffed our ability to create a larger applicant pool in our recruitment efforts for police officers. As of today, this great impeding stone to our recruitment efforts has been rolled away. I would personally like to thank the bill's sponsors, State Representative Ron Hicks and State Senator Doug Libla, for their efforts in getting this bill passed. And also I would like to thank Governor Parson for his willingness to sign the bill. The removal of this impediment will finally allow us to recruit employees from this region, as do other police departments in this region, which will in turn result in a safer St. Louis. Thank you. And I would now like to ask to the podium Director of Public Safety for the City of St. Louis, Judge Jimmy Edwards.
Thank you, Chief. This is indeed a great day of celebration for all the public safety and first responders in the City of St. Louis. This has been a long time coming. For decades now, we have been trying to equalize life's chances for employees in the City of St. Louis as it relates to public safety. Today, it happens. And I want to thank our governor. I want to thank all of the legislative bodies that have assisted us. More importantly, I want to thank those people that have carried the ball for us, the sponsors. And then, of course, I want to thank the mayor of the City of St. Louis for understanding how critically important it is to have the sufficient amount of police officers and other first responders in the City of St. Louis to do the work for the people of the City of St. Louis. So indeed, I am very grateful to our police officers and to all of those who have helped us get to this point. Again, on behalf of all of the citizens of the City of St. Louis and on behalf of all the first responders in the City of St. Louis, I would like to thank you, because I know that employment of people that reflect the people that live in the City of St. Louis is critically important, and we will do that. It is my honor at this time to introduce to you the mayor of the City of St. Louis, Mayor Lyda Crusoe.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here with all of you to publicly thank the folks who made this happen. Of course, Senator Libla, thank you. Representative Hicks, thank you. He wore his lucky St. Louis socks every day that we had a hearing on this, and he's got them on today. So thank you, Representative Hicks. Representative Schroer, thank you. And of course, Governor Parsons, thank you. This was not always an easy lift. It was not always easy for the state legislature to understand that they needed to help us level the playing field on retention and on recruiting. Both of those things are very important for our police department. We are, as we have been for several years, many years actually, over 100 police officers short. For us to have a safe city, we have to have a full complement of police officers, and this legislation is going to help us do that. So thank you all for making this happen. And let me just say thank you to every police officer, every firefighter, every EMS worker, every dispatcher in the City of St. Louis, all of whom came together to help make this happen. Thank you. I'm pleased to be here with you today. Thank you, Jay. We really appreciate you, and thanks to all of you for being here.
Next up, I'd like to introduce Representative Nick Schroer. He's been a friend, to say the least, of public safety and law enforcement in this state.
Well, thank you, Jay, and thank you to all the members inviting us here to your home. Earlier this year, I didn't think that this day would come. I knew that we had been struggling year after year in addressing this concern. Finally, with the mayor's help and her administration's help, coming down to the Capitol during the regular session, the governor's help during the extraordinary session, in addressing this crime pandemic, or epidemic rather, and trying to fix what I believe is a common sense piece of legislation, getting it to his desk, and I applaud him for signing it and bringing us here to where we are. It was last year, which I had known about this piece of legislation, but I didn't know until I had a similar bill, the Police Officers' Bill of Rights, that my good friend Ron Hicks had this bill last year, and it was a struggle in committee. It was a grueling fight. But listening to the studies, listening to everything that went on in that committee, I wanted to be part of that solution. So I applaud the senator, I applaud the attorney general, and the sponsor, Representative Hicks, on getting this done. Another gentleman that had the backs of police officers this entire time is a former legislator who knows how to get a bill passed, our attorney general. And when I received a message from his office and trying to sit down and see if there were any concerns about this bill, I knew that we had the right person for the job serving as our attorney general. There are other pieces of legislation that we still need to get done in addressing crime in the city of St. Louis and in inner cities across the state, but this is one step in the right direction. And with the governor's help, with our next speaker's help, I think that we'll get there. So it is my pleasure today to announce our next speaker, my good friend, Attorney General Eric Schmidt.
Thank you, and I just want to thank all the legislators, the ones here today, Representative Hicks, Schroer, Senator Libla, my good friend from my days in the Senate. I'm working hard to get this done, and the governor's leadership. I mean, these things just, when something's been around for this long and as antiquated as this law really was, it does take leadership, and the governor certainly showed that. When we gathered last fall to talk about our legislative agenda with a lot of the folks you see here today, we listened to the police officers, those on the street who needed help. And we're about 150 officers short right now from a full complement. You see a rise in retirements, and you see rising violent crime rates. So we need to do everything we can to support the men and women of law enforcement who protect our communities. And this is the least we can do for the men and women in blue. There's no question about it. This is needed. The time was now. I'm happy to say that we got it done. But this is really about supporting those law enforcement officers, because we know with a broader applicant pool, we get a more diverse force. We're able to recruit from a broader universe, and ultimately with the goal of making sure that every citizen in the city of St. Louis feels safe. They deserve that. And so in partnership with the St. Louis Metropolitan Police Department, I'm confident we'll be able to do that. So I want to thank all those who made this happen. And again, as was said, this is a long time coming. Thank you.
I'd like to now introduce Representative Ron Hicks. He took a beating on the floor with this in debate and stood tall for policemen and public safety in the city of St. Louis. Representative?
First, like everyone else, I want to thank everyone for being here today. And I want to thank every single officer, firefighter, and EMS out there as you hear the siren go. But I want to thank all of you. The reason I started this quest was simple for me. I wanted to give back to those that give to us every day. They do it without question, and they do it with honor and integrity. And we've lost too many of those lives due to unforeseen circumstances or some that we might have been able to change or fix. I've been fighting for this from the start. of my legislative career back in 2013. I've brought it up more than once. And then in 2019, when the Speaker, Elijah Har, asked me what my main priorities and goals were, I brought him the information that I had and everything I'd studied on this, and he said, let's run with it. And then I was very fortunate, which does not happen all the time, to get the backing and support of not only the local government from the area of St. Louis City, but then I got the backing from our Attorney General. I got the backing from our great governor of this state, and thank you, sir. And I got the backing of a very valuable senator, Senator Libla. I had support from all my colleagues in the House, and I want to thank them for that. I want to thank our leadership team, and I want to thank every member in the House. Every member and every person that helped along the way on this, I want to thank for one simple reason. This had nothing to do with which side of the aisle we all sat on. It had to deal with life. That's all it dealt with. We all came together, and we succeeded, and I am extremely honored and blessed to have the governor sign this bill. So thank you very much, Governor. Thank you, Chief, Director, and my friend, Mayor Lyda Crusoe. It was a struggle. And as a chief knows, when I sat in his office at the beginning of the year, and he was talking with me, and he felt that this was a struggle that we would not win, but he was willing to listen. You helped us win, sir. Ma'am, you helped us win. Governor, thank you. And thank you to your staff, too. Thank you, everybody, for everything you've done to help along the way. Thank you. And with that, I know I've already mentioned his name, but it is an absolute privilege for me to be able to introduce Senator Doug Libla, who was very key in the passing of this legislation.
Thank you very much. I just want to take a couple minutes. It has been a lot of teamwork. Governor and your staff did an awesome job in the halls of the Capitol. Those of you who travel in the halls knows it's a big job getting in and out and talking what you need to do. A couple other folks, it's an honor to be in this building and what this building represents. And Jeff, what a job you guys have done here and also in the building, Capitol building. I also want to point out Jackie Barget. She's in the back there. She's always in the back, but I'm telling you right now, she was at the forefront of this, walking the halls, mayor, chief, judge, attorney general, all legislators and their staffs. It takes a lot of people to get this to where it's at today. But it's just an honor to be in here and respect that I have for all of our law enforcement and all of our EMTs. It's just great. It's just a warm feeling being in here. I'm going to let the governor come up and say a few words. I just want to say it's been an honor. This is my last year being in the Capitol building serving as a senator and served with the governor as a senator. We spent a lot of long nights working a lot of legislation. But I will tell you, he'll take the fight. And he's always fought for police officers. And you know, when you serve as one yourself, it kind of makes a little difference too. So let's all welcome the governor, the 57th governor of the state of Missouri, Mike Parson.
Wow, thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Please be seated. Now there's one guest here the senator didn't introduce, but I'm going to introduce her because she's really the power down in Butler County. The senator's wife is here, Elaine. I see you in the background. Glad you're here today. Man, there's so many good friends up here at the table that I've worked with when I first become governor in the state of Missouri, and we sit down and talked about these issues for everybody here at the table, the legislators, Mayor, you and Jimmy, and Chief. When I first met you early on when we were trying to fight crime in this area, I want to thank you for your partnership. And that's the way I view that, of all the things we did. I remember we talked about this very issue. One thing about this issue that was very important to me, I understood this issue before they ever really talked about this issue. Because wearing a badge for 22 years and being a sheriff back home, I always wanted to hire people within my own county because that was the taxpayer base. And I wanted to hire those people. The reality of it is you couldn't, because the demand kept getting greater and greater and the employees weren't there to get. So I understood this issue when you had to reach out to get more people on the streets. You can't operate a police department like St. Louis and expect to stay 150, 160 officers down And that's not even counting probably where you should be expanding to put more boots on the ground, to be right honest about it. That's how important this issue was, and I understood it frontwards and backwards when it happened. And you see what the Attorney General's done, and to be part of that, the legislators, you know, they talk like it was a heavy lift, but I just did it the first time I really went out there and done it. So, but I understand the issue very well. A lot of dignitaries up here at this front table, but again, I want to go back to wearing that badge. The reason this is so important for me, and the reason it's so important, is because all these men and women that wear that badge day in and day out. Because really the end game is to help them, but the real end game is to help the victims, to help the people out there that you're going to answer the call to. And you can't do that, and you can't expect it to be shorthanded. In my career, and I know the fire department's represented here today, and I want to thank you guys. I'm glad you're part of this too, because as a sheriff, I lost an officer in the line of duty. It was probably one of my toughest days as an official. I had an officer shot 6 times, thank goodness, and blessed he survived. I lost my brother-in-law as an EMT as he was doing his job out there. All of these things that we're doing right now are important. They're important for the people of this city to be able to do that. And we just, in special session, you know, a lot of political hype about it and everything, but this is a key issue of moving forward for the St. Louis region to be able to fight crime in the state. The witness protection program that we passed in special session was a top priority of the mayors across the state: St. Louis, Columbia, Kansas City, Springfield, the African American community. We met with them. One is law enforcement. We recently just brought $1 million into the Urban League up here to de-escalate violent crime. My simple goal as governor is to partner with the people who are at this table to try to figure out solutions to big problems. This crime that we've been dealing with has been going on for decade after decade after decade. Right. And you know, you have to start somewhere, and it starts with good leadership. And I think when you finally realize how important it is for the federal, the state, and the local levels to work together, you can accomplish some amazing things. And I hope the benefits pay out. Just this week, another little news for up here. We just did the first, at Lincoln University, the first African-American college will have their own law enforcement academy that we'll be putting out there on the state of Missouri. And I guarantee you we're going to be knocking on the door of Harris Stowe here before long to try to get those officers on the street. So it's a pleasure to be here today. It's a pleasure to be supportive of the law enforcement across this state, the emergency personnel. They're very dear to my heart, and we're going to keep doing it. I'm going to support the mayor, I'm going to support Jimmy, and I'm going to support the chief. And that's right. And we're going to continue to fight this battle together. And I guarantee you, if we will fight this together and we'll put all the resources on the table, we will curb the violent crime in this city. I guarantee you that's what we're going to do by working together. So thank you all very much. I'm going to step over here to the official signing. So thanks, everybody, for having me up here today. Thank you. Well, again, let's make this official. For here, I'm glad to be able to be here today. I'm glad to support the FOP to be here at their building and for what they represent and everyone that's here today. But more importantly, I thank you for being here for the general public, for the people this is going to help, and for the police officers in the city. So let's get this done.
Give it to the chief first.
Chief.
Chief first.
Chief. You get first. Hey, Ron, you take care of that email.